After their dinner, Jungkook guided Wyan to the plush couch in the living room. The dim light created a cozy atmosphere, and Jungkook settled himself, pulling her gently into his arms. The soft glow of the LED illuminated the room as he scrolled through the movie options. Jungkook, pick a movie, anything you'd like. He moved the remote towards her. Vine hesitated for a moment, glancing over the choices, and then chose a romantic classic. As the movie began, Jungkook's arm tightened around her, creating a sense of warmth and security. She didn't know. One day, she would get to see this side of him, a man so untouchable, keeping her in his arms, and not ready to even let her move. This was wholesome, somewhat unrealistic. She waited to wake up from this beautiful dream. The movie unfolded on the screen, but Jungkook found himself more captivated by the expressions playing on Vian's face than the storyline. He couldn't help but notice the subtle beauty in her reactions. The way her eyes sparkled with laughter, and the genuine smiles that crossed her lips. Vine's focus broke when she felt his fingers against her cheek. They traced down her jaw, and she felt this intense gaze on her. He traveled down her neck, and her cheeks displayed a crimson shade of red. She locked eyes with him. Jungkook, I never expected a night like this. Wine, what do you mean, sir? Jungkook, I thought what I had for you was attraction. I'll get over it. But you held me so strongly in your grip without even knowing. The admission surprised Wine, but it only churned butterflies in her stomach. Whatever it was that was happening to her heart, she wanted more of it. Jungkook, and call me Jungkook from now on. You agreed to be mine, Wine. So now I show you how I keep my woman. She reflected a gentle smile. In her imaginations, she used to think if she ever got to be with Jungkook, it would take her a lot of time to settle with him. But this was different. He was so welcoming, and she could already feel herself getting comfortable in his company. She rested her head on his shoulder, silently conveying how grateful she was. As the movie unfolded, Jungkook's fingers traced patterns on Vian's arm. The room was filled with the soft murmur of the movie. But the real story was in the stolen glances and the tension between them. Jungkook's hand moved to the nape of her neck. He turned her towards him and kissed her once again. His lips brushing against hers in a slow, lingering kiss. It was a dance of passion and restraint. The tension grew between them. The desire screamed, and then he pulled her flush against him. His arms wrapping around her waist, pulling her in his lap, as the two shared a deep, passionate kiss. He lifted her effortlessly, carrying her to the bed. He kissed her like a woman deserved to be kissed. like the world would end and the sky might burst, but nothing would compare to the passion in that one kiss. It drew her out of her breath. It took her to heaven and back. She rolled her eyes to the back, and when they pulled away, she panted heavily. The movie forgotten, as their eyes spoke a language only they understood. Her eyes were half closed. He loved the way it seduced him even more. Jungkook's fingers trailed gently down Ryan's spine, tracing invisible patterns as she snuggled her face in her newly found comfort spot, the spot between his neck and shoulder. Jungkook, sleep here tonight. Ryan, I want you close. Ryan nodded, her eyes closed. Jungkook brought her to his room, walking over to bed. It raised her heart with anticipation. Her fingers curled around his shirt as he stopped before the bed, placed one knee on top of it, and leant down. His eyes met hers as he ever so slowly placed her on his bed. The eye contact broke. One pulled her hands off him, and Jungkook removed her hair off her face as she laid there on his bed under his intense eyes that sworn to burst her heart right now. He pulled back and she frowned when she realized he was leaving her there, giving her the personal space, his full bed, all to herself. But before he could retreat, Vine reached out, her hand finding his. She pulled him gently and he willingly obeyed, settling in beside her. Vine, stay, Jungkook. He loved how his name rolled out of her tongue so smoothly. In that moment, he knew he was going to love this forever. Love every time he wakes up to that honey sweet voice. Jungkook, think again. You know my habit. He said, but she knew it well. His habit of sleeping shirtless. She nodded, still holding his hand ever so gently, yet tightly in hers. Jungkook brought her hand to his lips, placing a wet kiss to assure her. He then proceeded to remove his shirt and got on bed as Vine scooted a little to other side to provide him with space. His huge figure instantly took a whole lot of space off king-sized bed. He turned off the lights. It was such a domestic husband side where she couldn't help but blush. First cooking, then seeing such a romantic side of him, and now this all in one night. It had to be a dream, but it wasn't. He turned towards her and Vine quietly slipped near him, getting in his arms as he kissed her forehead like a lover's caress. Jungkook, good night, Vine. Vine, good night, Jungkook.